welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday's Winning Woman, where we take a moment to highlight the icons in the technology and channel space. I'm very excited because I know today's guest. We've run in the same circles for quite a while now. She's currently the Chief Channel Officer at JS Group. She's also an exposure board member, which we appreciate. She's on CompTIA's board, as well as serving roles for the Alliance of Channel Women. And where I met her, which we're probably going to talk about first, is the Allies initiative that Informa Channel Partners, Channel Futures had, which has grown into something completely massive and impactful in this space. And she was an integral part of getting that started. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming this week's Wednesday's Winning Woman, Kris Blackmon. All right. How you doing, Kris?
Hey, Brandon, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for suffering through that. I know it's kind of it's funny because we do so much in this space and we're known for so much, but I always kind of look at the faces of people when you're talking about their accomplishments. No one seems to be comfortable about it. Everyone feels the same way hearing themselves be introduced, but you've done a lot in this space and we appreciate it, and I appreciate you joining the program.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
Right. So we're going to jump right in first for some people who might not know JS Group or maybe even the role of Chief Channel Officer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the organization and what you're doing now?
Sure. So JS Group is a business consultancy about the channel ecosystem, right? So we work with vendors, established vendors just entering the channel. We work with distributors and partners. We kind of bridge the tech and the telecommunications space. We consult on go-to-market strategies, marketing strategies, sales enablement, a lot of channel enablement strategies.
Wow.
And so I run our content business, our content marketing business over there, as well as have my fingers in a whole bunch of the different pies. I'm working on, I do a ton of market research and a lot of developing those strategic recommendations to help businesses thrive in the channel.
Wow. And we all know that's needed. I mean, let's face it. We know that this is a technology channel, right? And we all have suppliers and vendors and partners and stuff like that. But this industry runs on marketing. Right. It's all about the content and getting it out there and making sure partners and customers and suppliers are aware of what you're doing. So that's a huge part of this space and you're doing well in it. So now I want to jump in though, because we have a couple standard questions for our guest. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I mean, you've done a lot already. Somewhere along the lines, I'm sure you probably have several, but I just want you to pick one of your favorite moments or accomplishments, something that you're proud of that you want to share.
So when I was running content for channel partners and channel futures, one of my first big initiatives was over at Informa Tech was taking over a community and an awards program called the MSP 501. And I had worked in the channel for years before that, but this was the first time that I really got to, first of all, take ownership of a project. And, really, I owe it to TC Doyle and Lorna Gary, my supervisors at the time, that really just said, I remember Lorna telling me at one point, come to me when you mess up.
Right.
And run with it, right? So it gave me a lot of room to grow there. And second of all, it's what really got me started in building my own community. So my own network, my own relationships, really tight-knit relationships in the channel. I learned a lot about the partner business model and about their challenges and their opportunities, and got to have a lot of great conversations. And it's where I really fell in love with the space.
Yeah. Wow. Now see that is so crazy because I know you. We work together. We're on a board together, right? And I've been in this space for a while. And you know, I was on the referral side for the most part, so not really familiar with the MSPs, but I know what the MSP 501 is, and I had no idea you were instrumental in getting that going. And I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a huge lift. So we took what was just kind of a simple awards program, and over
Mhm.
the course of a few years, really developed it into a community with, market intelligence, with education opportunities, a whole bunch of networking. We started doing celebrations, happy hours, galas at the channel partners events. Really, like I said, just
Yes.
building up this community, and we built it into a primary revenue driver for Channel Futures. And it became a really integral part of the business. And I still have so many close relationships with that community today.
Yeah.
I love my MSPs.
I like that. I'm sure they enjoy hearing that as well. So that's good. The next one up is one of the things I found with successful people in general, but just forward-thinking people, progressive people, they have goals, right? And you know, we have that, and we have, you know, SMART goals, well, that, but they always know kind of what's ahead of them. What are they working towards? Where they're going. So I'm not going to ask you to go through your whole list, but I want you to pick for 2023. What's one of Kris's goals for this year?
I think that like a lot of people right now, it's funny, we were on an exposure communities call last week, and
Hmm.
Kelly McMillan, our fearless leader at Exposure,
Yeah.
asked us what our word of the year was, and mine was balance. I think like a lot of people right now, um, I would say maybe especially in the tech space, but throughout the country, throughout the world,
Right.
really looking to try to find a way to balance that being, career driven with also having a life,
Yes.
to get really
Yes.
sucked into one or the other. And
Yeah.
being able to strike that balance is something that I'm really looking forward to doing this year. And one of the ways I want to do that is by trying to find more efficient ways to
Hmm.
do my work. So whether that's utilizing AI, or, I want to take some more professional development classes, try to get a little bit quicker at stuff, and find some more efficient ways to complete all of my work in a day.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny you said that, because I was going to ask you, like, how are you going to go about that? Because you're right. We have balance isn't something that really exists in our industry. I mean, let's just be honest. We go. I have a couple colleagues, friends, from from Talaris when I worked there, and we're in a chat group, and we joke sometimes about, you know, having reached the highest level at the airlines and the highest loyalty thing with the hotels, and it's cute, but what that really means is that we're, you know, we're going we're go
Exhausted all the time.
yes, yes. You know, so I think balance is important, and I also think that's a good message throughout the industry, because there's I want to say there's even a level of maturity that comes when you realize you need to have both, you know, because we don't all start out that way. We start out thinking, you know, you got to grind, you got to hustle, you got to do, you know what I mean, in order to, you know. And someone posted the other day about how his kid came in and asked him to play Uno, and his initial response was like, you know, I'm busy right now, like go. And then he thought about it, and before his kid left the room, he got him to come in, and they actually played Uno, because in that moment he realized playing Uno with him before he went to school was way more valuable, you know, than the extra 10 minutes he was going to spend reading emails, you
Yeah.
know, or something like that. So, but catching yourself in those moments, and be, you know, it takes initiative and commitment. You have to be intentional about it. So
You
I
know,
like to focus on balance.
as hard as 2020 and much of 2021 was on us, especially people like you and I who are used to being road warriors and
Right.
out there all the time, At first, whenever travel was shut down, like I got really stir crazy, right? Because I was used to going, like you said,
Right.
you know, hustle culture. But it didn't take very long before I was like, oh, this is not terrible, you know? Like
So you're
I
saying
haven't
I'm hoping it's another week, huh? I'm not.
I haven't had to
I can get
rush
used to
for
this.
a flight in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has value, and thankfully, like I said, we're at the point where we realize that value, and trying to make it happen is good. Um, and speaking of being at that point and the maturity associated with it, the last question is kind of a fun one, because the last question is, if you could go back in time, what advice, hindsight's 2020, what advice would you give young Kris, just starting out in the business world and in the corporate environment? What would you tell yourself, and why?
Um, I think kind of twofold. I would place more emphasis on professional development. And whether that means taking classes outside of work, you know, LinkedIn Learning or whatever, or establishing, you know, I had mentors, I had
Mm-hmm.
people I looked up to that were always free with advice and I could always go to, but I never had like a formal mentorship program. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that I really could have benefited from when I was young. You know, you just kind of dive right in and figure it out as you go
Right.
along. And sometimes that works out, and
Yeah.
sometimes you find yourself spinning your wheels a little bit. And I think if I'd been more open to asking for that more formal type of help, or
Mm-hmm.
really even being able to identify, okay, here's a skill set that I really need to work on to better position me for career growth in 18 months or,
Mm.
you know, 24 months. Being able to get that guidance from somebody just to say, hey, learn how to run a P&L, you know,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Exactly. This is a business, right?
yeah,
We're gonna let's look
yeah.
at that.
So,
That is awesome. That's awesome. I like that, and I think that's great advice for a lot of people that are out there. I mean, that's the part that you don't. We used to have conversations about that in general, like in school. I don't want parents and screaming at me. Algebra and science and all that stuff is great, and I understand the academia, but dang it, they should teach like profit and loss. They should teach bank balance statements, how
yep.
to checking accounts,
How
ROI.
credit works.
Yes, how credit, exactly. Those things need to be taught, because we get we get thrust into adulthood, and then working, and you got to learn that stuff on the fly. And unfortunately, not knowing some of that at a young age um, can hurt you. It can hurt you down along the way, especially when we're talking diversity and minorities and stuff like that. That's not something that's really talked about. So I think
Mhm.
it's good to have that. So this has been awesome.
Thanks
It's
for having
awesome.
me.
It's been
Always
great
great to
talking
talk
to
to you.
you. So thank you for spending time. I know you're busy, so I mean, people say that, but I know you're busy. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to share with the audience. Um, and I do have something for the audience. Thank you for being a viewer of this episode, but also, we're actionable because we're all busy. So we're asking you to acknowledge, support, and promote. Acknowledge is, if you're not already a part of Kris's network, please go join it. Do it right now. Don't wait until you're done and you're gonna forget. You're just go there and join and follow her network. Also, support her posts, support the things that she's working on, and promote whenever you have an opportunity. When you see JS out there, or if you need help with enablement, custom enablement, partner enablement, marketing, media, you now know someone, and hopefully you know a little bit more about Kris than you did before you started. But we're asking you to do that and support this program as well by checking us out every Wednesday to find out who the latest Wednesday's winning woman is. Thanks for joining us.